This guy, Russell Brand. Does anybody not know who that is? Okay, famous A-list movie star, comedian, turned podcaster. He was married to Katy Perry, 2010 to 2012. He's a known ladies' man. Okay, he's out there. He's very wild. He's British. He's brash. He's all crazy, and he's most famous for a few movies. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Get Him to the Greek. He's also been in Despicable Me, Minions, and Trolls. Speaking of trolls, some motherfuckers are trolling this guy pretty hard. Specifically, two news outlets in the UK, the Sunday Times and Channel 4, which is a UK media outlet. And People magazine over the weekend came out with this story, and then the news just broke from there. So PBD, my CEO, was on his podcast a week ago. They were chatting it up, having a great time, talking about all the cultural issues and the political issues of our day. I'm sitting in there watching. I'm like, oh, this guy's amazing. He knows what he's talking about. And then just because I've seen these things happen with certain other individuals we'll talk about, I was like, how are they going to bring this guy down? Voila, show this story. So Russell Brand accused of raping, sexually assaulting multiple women, including a 16-year-old girl. This is People magazine. Punch in on that so people see the title. Thanks, Malik. So there's Russell Brand. If you don't know who he is, he's got one of the biggest social media presence on YouTube in the world. So here are some of the claims of what's going on. By the way, Russell's channel has 6.6 million subs on YouTube. That's, dude, you know how it is. 6.6 million, that is insane.
That's a lot.
So Valuetainment, major media disruptor, we have 5 million on our main channel. PBD podcast, which I co-host, we're at, I think, 1.5, I want to say. This channel is about 250,000, and we have a few other channels that are growing. But the point that I'm getting at is we have all this stuff going on. Russell Brand just by himself is at 6.6 million. This ain't no lightweight. Like CBS, the actual media company that's been around for 100 years, has 6 million YouTube subs, just for perspective.
He also has a big following on, I think it's Rumble, right? He has like a daily
1.4 million on
well.
Rumble. He got paid by Rumble. We'll get into some of the claims. Malik, just so for context, you have that video of his funny scenes from his movies. Yep. This is a scene, I believe, from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he played a funny sexual rock star, which he kind of is in real life. So he was sort of typecasted for the role. And this is the role that made him famous. You have that clip? So, go for it. Volume?
Can I ask you a question?
So, here's a clip of him coaching up a virgin who just got married on
I don't know what I'm doing.
How to have sex.
Sex-wise, do you not know how to use this?
I know how.
Have you had sex before?
We can't.
Why?
Our religion.
Oh, right, because of God and everything. Hey, that's not going to be a problem because God should be present in the bedroom.
Just tell me specifically what I need to do.
You need to penetrate deeply and stimulate the clitoris simultaneously. That's what you've got to do. That's what it's about. If you can evolve the anus in that, that's absolute perfection. Right? Explore her. Find it in you to be a little more a man.
By the way, I think you ladies will agree, actually great sexual advice.
Yeah.
Penetrate, stimulation, pleasure, you know, not bad advice, okay? But all good things must come to an end, especially for these types of men these days. So here are some of the claims. If you go back to that People magazine, actually you don't need that. Claims: Russell Brand allegedly raped, sexually assaulted, emotionally abused 4 women, and one was 16. This was in the UK. We'll have that discussion. All 4 of the victims have chosen to keep their identity anonymous. Anonymous victims. Where have I seen that before, Andrew Tate? These allegations are from 2006 to 2013.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so these allegations are 10 to 15 years old, and they're just popping up now.
Well,
Okay.
I also heard, I don't want to beat you to the punch, but I also heard that these women only came forward once they were specifically reached out to by the news, by these two
It's
media
funny, when you
outlets.
go looking for situations, you'll go find some
So
situations.
How come they were looking for those? No.
Exactly. And that's the conversation we're going to have, David. So his legal team, because obviously his legal team is getting involved here, he thinks there's quote unquote a deeply concerning agenda to all this, namely the fact that he is an alternative media broadcaster competing with mainstream media. So you hit the nail on the head, and we'll have a discussion of who else has come to his defense. But without even getting into what other people have said, let's just stay right here. David, what do you think is really going on here?
I mean, I was watching his, I think it's like a 2-minute response video he did. It's not a lot.
Which we're going to play in a second. Should we play that first?
Yeah, play that first.
Okay, play his response to these allegations, and then we'll have this discussion.
You Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we
1.5.
critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff, like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan, when he dared to take a medicine that...
All right, so cool. He said we've seen coordinated media attacks before. He also said, I was very promiscuous in the past. What A-list Hollywood good-looking sex icon type guy isn't? But he's also been very transparent about it. Again, he married Katy Perry 2010 to 2012. So these allegations were from 2006 to 2013. So did it overlap with that? Who knows? By the way, you know, he's married now with 2 kids and 1 on the way. So he's married to Laura Brand, Russell Brand, that's his wife. Married with 2 kids. His wife probably right now is like, look, I know who I married. This ain't no secret. What the fuck is this? What's that conversation look like? So back to what you were saying, you saw his video. What do you think is actually happening here? Gut instinct.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, needless to say, if these are true, not a good thing. Maybe that doesn't need to be said, but I feel it does. But I think if there's ever going to be like a perfect storm, very promiscuous, so opened up to opportunities of, you know, multiple women who probably were sexually intimate with him, who could perhaps make this stretch of these claims if they wanted to. He's now like resurfaced with a new popularity. I guess he'd be considered controversial for like mainstream outlets, even though if you watch his videos, he's not like some alt-right commentator or anything. He's pretty balanced. From what I've seen, he calls out the left and the right pretty equally. But that's kind of what we saw with Joe Rogan, who he mentioned in that video. People who are maybe very level-headed, who are starting to attract more and more of an audience from people who are sick with mainstream media. And I guess maybe that's the real kicker here, right? Similar to Rogan, he probably is taking away not just the views, but some of the power of the narrative that a lot of these...
market share, credibility, and views and eyeballs, no doubt.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. This was a liberal... Like Joe Rogan, who we'll talk about on the show, was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yep.
And this is so... Not this is a political show, but I think there's a level of political stuff going on here, gamesmanship. Joe Rogan was a Bernie Sanders supporter, but now he's the alt-right. Russell Brand was a British, bougie man. He was not a conservative whatsoever. He's a promiscuous man. Now he's the alt-right. So something happens when you start calling out bullshit. When you start calling out, I don't know about that COVID stuff. I don't know about all that. That whole thing. I don't know about all that. All that big pharma stuff. I don't know this. Global is it? It's not a left or right thing. It's just like, this is what I'm seeing and this is what I'm saying. But we're living in a binary situation where it's like, are you a MAGA or are you a fucking liberal, woke liberal? Which one? Pick one. I'm like, I'm kind of neither, bro. I'm just me. And that's, I think, what's going on here. So let me ask the ladies. You see something like this, and we'll have a whole full-on discussion about Believe All Women, Me Too, Harvey Weinstein. There are some scumbags out there. But gut instincts, what do you think about Russell Brand? Do you think he's guilty of these charges? I get it. It's, innocent until proven guilty. Or is this just full on a playbook of character assassination? What do you think?
I don't know enough about Russell Brand to make an accurate judgment about him. But I mean, I feel like I don't know, but this happens common where when someone starts to get a bigger spotlight, things get turned on them, like the Tate situation we talked about a few weeks ago. I think maybe it's something of that to like plot against him and decredit him. Also, women will ruin your life with false claims.
Oh, will they?
Yeah, there's terrible women out there.
Okay. Unpack that.
Unpack that. I don't know. You see women do shady shit all the time of making claims that
With
when they
celebrities
want,
or even just regular dudes?
even just regular people that they know have money. They
Have
want.
money.
Yeah, of course.
Interesting.
They want.
So what kind of things have you seen? Not that you're going to name names, but like what sort of
I mean,
regular stuff have you seen out there?
This is Miami. You see a lot. I mean, girls will claim false accusations all the time, and I've had like a couple friends in the past that I've told like, you need to really watch your verbiage when you're talking about things because you'll ruin someone's life, not even understanding that you are. Like, you could be in a club and maybe a guy's trying to like grab you to dance with you, and I had this one friend and she would always like say, oh, he assaulted me, and she would always throw that term around, and I'd be like, you need to like, what was the situation? Because you need to stop using that like verbiage. Because
in your opinion, was he actually assaulting her, or
no,
was he just
wasn't.
trying to
He's
say
trying
what's
to dance
up?
with her, talk and say hi. Like,
So show me what he was doing to her.
like trying to like grab. Like,
so
grab
is
on
that
her.
considered assault?
No, like
I'm asking
grabbing
you.
her arm and saying like to get her attention, and then just like talking to her, like talking.
So just
Literally
rolling
sitting
up,
there
being like, "Hey,
talking.
what's up?" That's assault now.
And she
in her
would
mind.
claim, yes, like he assaulted me.
Okay. This
So-
is why men are so fucking worried to go talk to women these days. I mean, look, I'm just gonna come out and say this on the record right now, just before anything ever happens. I've been in the Miami nightlife business, dating scene, since I'm 16 years old. Okay, I'm 42 now. Clubs, women, nightlife. We're growing a major media company here. Up to this day, what is today? September 19th. I have zero accusations, zero drama in my life. No woman has ever accused me of shit because I treat women with respect. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit in the corner and be a wallflower and not talk to a girl. But here's my point. As we're building this mega media company, there might be a time where I'm dealing with the shit. Adam, he was in the green room with a girl. He said, "Are you ready for the show?" It's like, this is sort of a narrative, and this is what's going on. And that's why, like, this credibility issue, I think, is like kind of seeping. So when you're saying that, like, you've seen girls use this language,
And
when it's just like, "Hey, what's up?"
I've heard of guys tell me, like guy friends too, tell me that they've got like situations where women have like threatened to say like, "Oh, you did this, this, and this to me," like after they've taken a girl home or something, to like get what they want as like a threat.
Be specific.
To me, that's. I mean, I know guys that have some like money that girls have threatened to throw like rape cases on them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought women were sugar and spice and everything nice. They would never do anything like that.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire SOSCAST, click right here.